Baby, baby, yeah. Woo-hoo. Live here on the coolest of the cool, the Coolly Cool Show. Your host, Brent, kicking it here on this 4th of July, 2021. Listening to some My Love Is Good Enough by Jeremy Jordan. Listen to it for a few seconds. In a personal limousine, shower you with roses. Oh yeah. Whining and dining, baby. So, to everybody who's listening, just want to say happy 4th of July. All right. Thank you for those listening to the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show. Your host, Brent, here on this 4th of July, 2021. Yeah. So, this episode is going to talk a little bit of something different. I had got a response on my other channel, my YouTube channel, in reference to Globers versus Flat Earthers. We got a couple back comments. Apparently the Flat Earthers are not they're kind, they're friendly, I don't have a problem with them. But they're very outspoken and when they want to comment and explain themselves and why they are a flat earther and why the earth is flat. And that's totally fine. Totally fine. And the Globers are more on the lines of go right ahead, continue to banter and just make fun of Globers and scientists saying that since you have no scientific or physics background, it makes suggestions that, hey, but it's okay, but that's what the scientists and Globers are just laughing at the flat earthers. But we had a good conversation, good topic. It's good. For those that are listening, come on, I need you to go ahead and in the live chats, type down your questions, speak your mind, say what you like to say. Don't come and banter me with, oh, you're talking about, man, you're terrible. Don't come at me like Arnold, okay? I'd rather you come at me nice and slow. Come at me like, Rocky. Hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? I told you, I believe the earth to be a ball, you know what I mean? It's because of a ball, yeah. Or, if you're coming at me like Rocky can be like, hey, yo, Adrian, she's just those flat, That's my woman. I believe it to be flat. I chase chickens, make it. So, the topic for today is a little bit different. It's controversial. It has always been controversial since it occurred, since it happened. It's worldwide speculation, conspiracies. When back in, you have scientists, the community of those, the scientists, and then you have one side, which is also the flat earthers, and their conspiracy theories on how the world is actually working against this. And yes, the topic of discussion for this episode is, did we go to the moon? Yes, did we go to the moon? That's a very good discussion, considering especially with everything that's going on as far as, the UFOs and the Pentagon and all that stuff, and then, Space Force, and then they're trying to send a mission to go to Mars by SpaceX, and, they're studying stuff, and then the last bit in 2018, I think it was 19, when they sent a rover to Mars, and they sent a rover to Mars, and they set it on this plane, and I think they were digging to test the temperature of Mars. Who cares? If they landed there, I don't know. That's That I'm not going to understand. And unless I was a scientist working on there to test the temperature of another planet, who cares? I don't really care. Oh, Mars is it's about 90 degrees internally. Okay, I really could care less. All I know it's pretty damn hot. I don't know how it serves any significance to Earth, but whatever. So, I kind of got a little sidetracked. Sorry. Okay. So, real question is, it's a real question that's plagued since back in 1969 during the Nixon administration. And we went to the moon. Now, first, I'm going to give you my opinion. Well, actually, I'll give you my opinion at the end of the goddamn episode because I don't want people bantering me. Or, I can't believe he said that. Or, I can't believe he said that. Or, he said that. Okay, whatever. But I'll give you my opinion at the end. So, let's see. First question I have for those that are listening. The moon. And why travel to the moon? It's a good question. I mean, it's out there in outer space. You see it outside, up there, just there. Just there. Not doing anything, it's just there. I mean, it's beautiful to look at when on a clear, crisp, sometime for me, I'd say like a kind of crisp, cool night where it gets good, awesome, looks great. It's one of those things where it's like, wow, especially when it's bright and the sun actually lights up the moon. But the moon and why travel to the moon? I think it was pretty much of engineering and, feats that the human species needed, and human civilization, needed to do at that time to suggest that, hey, we are capable of doing feats of things that no one could imagine that we could do. It's just stuff built up on dreaming and kind of famed fantasies, and then actually have to fruition, actually have done it. I think this is why. It's you put a challenge in front of somebody, and this is one of those challenges that says, don't tell me what I can't and cannot do. And then during that, it came to terms and said, we can, and we're going to do it. Need little bumps in the roads, and there's going to be shit that happens, but we're going to go ahead and get it done. And that's exactly what, history has shown us to be able to do. Don't get it twisted. Going to the distance of the moon apparently is, I can't do my math on this. I can't remember. It's like 250,000 miles. 250,000. I think I'm right. I don't know if anybody's, can comment in the section. Just let me know exactly distant this. I know it's not going down to the local store and getting something to eat, drink. Yeah, I know it's going to take days. I know it says like 3 days to get to the moon. Now it probably could be less, depending on type of spacecrafts, the rockets that we use. So, why the space race to get to the moon back then? I mean, this all apparently had started from back early, well before in the 1950s when Russia had launched Sputnik, the first satellite into space, into orbit. And apparently, I guess it freaked the hell out of every other nation, every other country, and especially the United States, when the theory behind was like, oh my God, they're launching something into space. Into outer space. Could it be a rocket? Could it be a missile? Could it be a nuclear atom bomb or something like that? And I think this is a point where they're like, you know what? If we're going to be able to have control, we must control the space and sky and all that. And this is probably what fueled the whole contest of building rockets. Because if you could build an interstellar rocket or something that can get out into outer space, wow. You would have advanced capabilities, and when I say you, I'm talking about as country, and I'm talking about as, government. They would have such an advantage over the rest of other countries' governments. Because the simple factor, you could rain down the terrors and frightenings on everybody in the rest of the world. You can. Like, literally. And with that being, being revealed, I mean, that scares the shit out of everybody. So why not have a kind of continuous thing where countries and countries try to build and try to outcompete each other for world dominance? World dominance, right? Woo! Oh, see, I kind of got scared right there. World dominance. I don't know where that music keeps coming from, but okay. But it's kind of true. Thing is, this is for some other people. If you're listening, chime in and just comment and let me know why do people believe we went to the moon, or why do you think we went to the moon, or why do you think other people believe that we didn't go to the moon? I mean, is it because basically it's the engineering, the advanced, technical aspect of it, the capabilities of actually performing feats of things that only could be imagined in books, stories, movies, but then actually haven't done it? I think it's a really important question. One has to answer, and one has to question themselves, and one actually has to kind of think about what it is that they think be the reason, why so many people believe that. Like I said, I'm not going to give you my answer. I'm not going to give you mine until the end of the show, because I want to keep you in suspense, keep you listening. But here's another one. And for flat earthers, if you're listening, and I hope that you are listening, why is it that you don't believe that we went to the moon? Is it because you believe we're in it, like some people say, in an enclosed system, or because we're flat, or matter of fact, I don't even know if you do believe that the moon exists or is a real thing. My thing is, what do you think the moon is? If you don't think the moon to be real, what do you think that is out in the sky that is seen early in the mornings and late at night, darkness? What do you think that thing is? That's what I want to know. What do you think it is? Come on. Talk. Tell me. So, go to the next certain question. And this is something that I've always kind of had an opinion on. This is my opinion on the moon. And I kind of got to jump a little gun to it. Shit. First, I have two opinions. It might be three. But first is, we did go to the moon. It was great. We did go. But something happened on the moon, or we discovered something on our travels to the moon or at the moon. Now, considering the fact that we have not been back there since the Apollo missions, and it's kind of been disregarded as, there's nothing on there, it's just a rock floating it's right there. It's our moon. It's just, it's nothing there. Me personally, and seeing how the world is and seeing how the civilizations are, you look back at Christopher Columbus and his people and the first colonists and settlers, how came to the New World. And when you go to somewhere new, you have a tendency to, build upon it. And this is for evident history. Where we go, we build upon things. You thrive it up, you build it up, and you keep it going, so that once you get things a certain way, it takes time. It unfortunately does, but You just don't say, yeah, I've been there, see ya, I'm not going there. That doesn't happen. I mean, look at Antarctica. Coldest place probably in the world, the South freaking Pole. Serious coldness. I mean, I'd actually looked into going to Antarctica and trying to visit. It's just a lot of, different stops in the areas you have to end up going to in order to get to Antarctica. And even at that point in time, it's kind of raise the question why you want to go out there. I want to see penguins. I don't know. I want to see penguins and seals, I guess. I don't know. But, even Antarctica there's things that are built down there. There's people down there working. There's buildings. There's stuff. There's things that are, trying to research and check it out. I mean, they haven't just like, it's not down there. There's a black eye. See ya. Bye. No. They're consistently doing things. So, why haven't they done that with the moon? Why haven't we done that? Why haven't we built upon it? Why haven't we continued since we've gotten there? What's the holdup? What's the reason why? And then usually what we always hear is continuously throughout everything, funding. Funding, and the lack of interest in it, and just the funding and too much spending on it, and it's just didn't fit our P's and Q's. I don't understand. I don't get it. And not like I said, we went to the moon during the time of Nixon's administration, which boggles the heck out of me that we haven't been back. Not even during the time when we had the space shuttle programs, which the space shuttle went to the space station and let out satellites and stuff. And then, we didn't even decide to make a journey trip back to the moon. I don't get that. There's something up with that. You can't just say funding. There's something. And then you have people talking about some other, I don't know. It's weird. Now, well, my second thoughts, and this is where we get into the political bantering part of it, and the issues with a lot of things. Second is, what if we didn't go? What if we didn't go? Because, like you said, this relates back to whoever can control the skies, control space, has a huge advantage on creating a world dominance. Because it can show our capabilities to our enemies. And our enemies might back off. I mean, that's what I would think. I mean, looking at that, Russia launches the first satellite into space, into orbit. As they launch the first satellite into orbit, they scare the shit out of everybody. Everybody gets scared. They think it's going to be bombed. The space race begins. JFK announces travel to the moon. He announces that. Progress, thoughts, research get formulated into going out into space. Everything begins. Trips, test runs, things of that nature begin to head up, to go to space, to go to the moon. But here, we kept having failures all the time with the rockets and the systems and the designs, causing problems. But somehow we were able to make it. But as if you know anything in the course of our history, is that the first time isn't always the successful time, and the first time of doing something, there's always some kinks and things. But apparently we got there on the first try and everything went well, and it was pure luck. I mean, that could be that could be the thing. It was just got there and everything worked out like it was supposed to, and it happened. And unfortunately, nothing went wrong as far as the guys going on the moon and landing there. Not saying that. I'm saying, but what if now we're down with the lines of conspiracy theory? And just saying, this is just that second thought. Like I said, I'm not revealing my true opinion until the end of the show. But it just gives you kind of a little thought to think about a little bit. But what if it was all political? To try to psych out the USSR or Russia. To get them to spend millions and millions of dollars into making them bankrupt, which eventually the Soviet Union actually did collapsing. And a lot of people say it was because they were treating their people wrong, but maybe it's because they were putting too much money into it and then not seeing any success in it, which kind of made the collapse financially wise for the Soviet Union. Could it? I mean, the Cold War didn't end until the late 80s. And even then, at this point in time, some people still say today that we are still dealing with some type of Cold War issue, but it's a little bit less prevalent than it was back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. It's just more kind of, yeah, it's over, but I still don't like you. It's like that, Like I said, these are certain things you gotta probably consider. So, but let's see. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna go get something to drink. Take a quick break. All right, I'm gonna go get something to drink. Come back fueled up, and we're gonna finish the rest of this episode, this podcast here. All right. So oh, you guys are so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you. But like I said, I'm gonna take a quick break and listen to some more of Jeremy Jordan on Is My Love Good Enough? And like I said, be right back. All right, sit tight. You heard it here on live on the Cool Show. We'll be right back.
Won't you show me what you like, baby? I only want to please you. And I'm not beyond begging, baby. You've got me on my knees. Oh, you know that I would do anything you say, any little thing at all. If I told you I'd wait, no matter how long it takes, make you believe, baby. Oh, my love is good enough, good enough place to start. Oh, my love is good enough, good enough to open your heart. My love is good enough. Don't you think it's worth a try? My love is good enough, yeah, good enough for you and I. Oh, baby, my love is good enough, yeah. My love is good enough, you know it, baby.
Woo! Back here, live on the Cool Show. Your host Brent, back here. I got something to drink. Got filled up. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Brent the Champ, or you can also follow me on TikTok. Yeah, at the Cool Show. Well, actually, it's Cool Show. You can also follow me on Yahoo. Oh, not Yahoo. What am I talking about? I'm talking about, oh man, I'm so tired. Actually, you can also follow me on YouTube. You can find me there at the Cool Show. Got some videos there. And, yeah, we can keep talking, comment, like and subscribe, share with your fellow friends, share with your fellow astronauts, fellow scientists, share with your fellow flat earthers. Share like to hear their opinions. So, we're gonna get back on the topic of did we go to the moon? Like I said, I'll give my opinion on the matter. Did we go to the moon? Did I say go on the moon? Go to the moon. Wow, can't talk right now. So, scientists and NASA thoughts on the moon. I just have kind of a thought process a little bit. Says, for me, I don't kind of question, why send 3 astronauts? Only 3. Was that because of the size, as far as what they figured 3 could actually get the job done? One piloting, one doing something else, another one probably maintaining some type of calculation. I mean, is that the reason why, or is that because when you think about kind of going to off this planet, out of this world into another area, we think of like kind of the Starship Galacticas and stuff, with a whole crew of people, not just 3. I mean, is it because they figured that 3 was good enough? You could get the primary people that were specialized in their job skills to be able to complete the mission, or is it because of the size of the craft that they were going to do? I mean, now even SpaceX with their rockets, and I think the SpaceX with their compartments is able to put 4. I might be wrong. I think it's 4 on 4 crew members. So, I mean, is that kind of a reason why? I don't know. Maybe with size. I mean, I believe they probably would love to have a big enough spaceship to like, oh, we got 15 crew members on this thing. I mean, I don't know. It's an idea, but I've always wondered why 3. If you have the answer to that, let me know. Why 3? Why not more? Or I mean, didn't they send a monkey out into space? Did that monkey come back? Or is that monkey still floating in space? Maybe he got caught in a time travel. Maybe he's with Mark Wahlberg on, the Planet Apes or something. I don't know. Some parallel dimension. Or maybe the monkey went to the moon or went to the sun, set up his own civilization. Who knows? I don't know, man. Let's see. And here's the be-all answer. Well, be-all question of them all. Does anyone care that we went to the moon? And if so, does it help you, them, anyone, or everyone? That's a question. I mean, look at it that way. Going to the moon. What's the significance if we did go to the moon? What's the significance if we didn't go to the moon? Is it changing anything in your life? Apparently, during this whole time, during like the 60s and the space program and things like that, a lot of jobs were filled because of the space program, which is good. So, in that aspect, yes. Could a person really care? Because guess what? They like fuels jobs and it fuels their ideas, and them to start doing things and advancing and coming up with new things. Starts physics. Space ideas, creations, new departments within the government, and space programs, and people began working. And guess what? With that type of element, as far as people, they are being creating things and helping out their country and being I say it right, productive to society. That's good? That's a great thing to help out, because now there are people contributing to advancing our way of life and to shooting us into from the Flintstones to the freaking Jetsons. So you have people that's I don't want to be here pedaling on my feet while driving. I want to be like George Jetson and then, flying out and everything. I mean, that really does, because then now you have people with a lot of things that says, I need this, I need that. And then you have engineers, welders, different designers, builders, construction guys, who now come up with ideas on certain things that they need in order to help get this going, which is what I need: this certain bolt, this certain nut, I need this rod, I need this nozzle, I think this is pipe, I think this, you have everybody now working on creating and building things, and it's all coming together. And like I said, this is probably maybe a good thing because maybe it helps fuel and gets people going, gets the economy rolling. People are happy, people are working, people are doing things. It has a lot of good. But sometimes personally, I mean, if we didn't go to the moon, would it matter? You know, would it just be another stepping stone that we'd have to actually do it eventually in another time? You know, there's tons of conspiracy theories that say that we didn't go on the moon because they did it on the backstage set in Hollywood or backstage set somewhere in Area 51, and we're like, oh yeah, we didn't. They made it in, you know, an old barn or out in the middle of a freaking desert, and that's what they love to do. A lot of conspiracy theorists love to say we didn't go to the moon. Instead, they faked it all, and it's just too much to it. They said the flag that they planted on the moon, it's not waving. I'm sorry, it's waving, and in zero gravity, the flag should not be waving. It should just be like this and that, and the cameras and the crosshairs and the cameras are over, are supposed to be over the images, and some are behind the images, so which create a thought process of doctoring the photos. And then they say, you know, it's just a whole bonus thing as far as, you know, the limb landing, and as it lands, it doesn't kick up any dirt on top of things, and you know, they're like, oh, the pictures were perfectly done by the astronauts. So, you know, look, I can understand there's certain conspiracy theories and certain things that intend to happen, and then people always say, well, you'd think amount of people would have to be, and first of all, I'm going to be honest with you, that's a lot of effort in order to do that. And I'm just talking from a long shot. It's a lot of effort, and that certainly is a lot of having to tell people to shut the hell up and monitoring of individuals in order to make sure they don't tell nobody, that they don't divulge information that they're not supposed to. I mean, if you've ever done, I don't know if anybody's listening who ever has done surveillance or watched anybody, it's quite difficult to keep a lid or something like that completely covered. And when I mean covered, to keep it completely quiet from not everybody hearing about it. I mean, that's too big a lie. The only thing you could suggest that people are compartmentalized. The issues of that is people are, stuff like that is compartmentalized, which means only certain people are going to know, and certain people are going to assume everything is going to be, which people would work on certain things, certain aspects. It's like a UFO. It's like Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar is a individual who apparently had worked in the 80s for S4. If you don't know who he is, I always tell you, do your own research, go look it up, go find out who he is. But it'd be like a person working on one part of some type of machine that they're doing, and they're trying to figure out that part of the machine. But when they figure that part out of the machine, now they can include it, or other individuals who will come in and they will take that part and they will piece it with the other areas of the grander, bigger picture, a bigger individual thing that they're working on, which means like Bob Lazar's area wouldn't have any knowledge of what else is actually having to be done or being looked at or being researched or being trying to study on. He would only be focused on what he's working at and working on, but then wouldn't know what it is pertaining to anything else, or would it go to this or would it go that. He's just working in one specific thing to get that figured out and get that being able to arrange correctly and to work properly. When once it's figured it can, then it is linked up with something else, which would be like, oh, I didn't know it was supposed to be that, which would make people says, I don't know what he was doing in section B, but I know what I was doing in section A. The other guy over here and working in section C has no clue what section B and A are doing. But section D is like, I don't know any of you guys, but I'm finished what I'm doing. And you put it all in it together. And apparently it gets that way. Maybe that's could be the whole thing with what's going on with the whole thing. Maybe it could be the whole thing reason why with the moon. It's just if they were to fake something like that, they would only compartmentalize it to only specific individuals to know. Which would be like, yeah, he's building this. They're setting nozzles and things like this. But the guys in the back, the man behind the curtain is like, unfortunately, they really don't know that. Yeah, we really can't do any of this shit. But yeah, they're not gonna know because what all their efforts are into doing something. So it looks good on paper, and it looks good that our personnel believe that their efforts are going to something greater than themselves and working to apparently achieve something, but in reality, it's like, in hindsight, it's not going anywhere. But it's great that we have individuals believing, because think about it. You could have, let's say, NASA probably employs, I don't know how many people NASA employs, I'm just going with far-fetched number. NASA probably employs maybe, I don't know, I'm just guessing, 7,000, probably 8,000 probably personnel. And if they were going to try to fake something like that, you couldn't have all of the NASA employees all be in on it, because there's no way you could ever be able to monitor, follow, check on each and every individual to make sure they're not, hey Johnny, yeah, we ain't going to fucking moon, buddy. It's all a fucking joke. There's no way you can monitor that. The best way, case scenario, is to get everybody formulated into going ahead and says, hey, this is what we're doing, this is that. And people was like, well, I've been working on this. So what are you talking when he says we're not going to the moon, we haven't gone to the moon, that's a lot of fucking things where people I'm just building this, what is going on? I don't know, let's just make it. No, people are building because that's what they're in the know of doing, because it's like, I'm putting something together that's going to bigger, better cause. And that's what it is. And that happens around, but to know for certain on whether or not the issue is whether or not it's true or not, that's not left at the individual people. That's about hierarchy. That's like higher ups that are actually making those decisions. You know, I mean, could it be a divulge of the deception? But then again, what is the deception? Because of the fact that we're involved in the Cold War is the reason why we didn't do any of this, or why we were staging all this, or we're trying to. It's all a lot of money, and like I said, it goes back to a lot of stuff being done in order just to not do this. Now, I do believe that the way the government does a lot of things is they do compartmentalize a lot of stuff, and when they compartmentalize it, because they don't want everything and everyone knowing what they know or what they're doing. You do it for a particular reason, like that. You don't want everybody knowing that you're making this and that. You only tell a select certain few, and then you disregard everyone. And the outside people say, hey, don't worry about it. We're taking care of it. You know, we'll let you know in advance later on. But, I mean, are you ever going to know the truth? Maybe if we ever get the chance to go to the moon, which is what they've been saying, and like they want to have trips to the moon. But even if they have trips to the moon, does anybody really want to go to the moon? And on top of that, going to the moon, is there a hotel in the moon? Is this Total Recall? Instead of going to Mars, we're going to the moon? I mean, what the hell? What's this? Hey, I'm in the moon. There ain't shit on here. It's dark. It's dusty. There ain't nothing. Yeah. So, now, I am going to divulge my opinion, since I know some of you listeners want to know what it is, whether I believe that we went to the moon or not went to the moon. And this is where you can come at me and be like, I know it. So, without further ado, I will give you my opinion on whether or not we went to the moon or not. So, hold on. Here we are. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. So, I do believe we went to the moon. That's right. I do believe we went to the moon. Now, I'm going to just base this on things that I've seen, things that I've done my own research, things that I've looked at. And the reason why I do believe that we went to the moon, because there's just far too much stuff and far too much research, and there's far too much of everything that has gone into the process of actually going to the moon to be disregarded as not having gone to the moon. Now, what I do believe the reason why we haven't been back to the moon, and I think many people might kind of take this into consideration, is that something happened on the moon, which is reason why we haven't been back. I don't know whether it's to be extraterrestrial life, alien contact, or anything like that. I don't know, but it would be highly suggested that since we haven't been back in over, what was it, close to 50 years, I guess, that we haven't been back to the moon, you could probably maybe sometimes suggest that it's because something happened on the moon, and is reason why we didn't go back, and then reason why we're doing certain things to the space station and had a shuttle program, and then we used the Soyuz rocket or the ship. The reason why we use that stuff now is because we're now monitoring activity in space. Like I said before, the United States military came up with the Space Force. You don't come up with a separate now branch of the military with mission capabilities if there's not something going on that you're not telling people or you're trying to gear up towards. They came up with the Space Force. And first thing is like, Space Force? What the hell? Was it Starship Troopers? No, they came up with the Space Force. Put the pieces together. If they're coming up with this is all a later big plan to divulge something else that's going to eventually, later down the years, that's going to come out that you're not going to see right now, but you'll see it later on. These are little pieces. They'll throw you a bone here and there for you to kind of make your own judgment, your conclusion to. But take that bone and understand it thoroughly on what they're doing. And when I say they came up with this, they came up with this own branch that's apparently, I think it's connected to the Air Force, so to speak. But they came up with that branch. Why would they need to come out with a military capable branch of the armed forces? Name it Space Force. Don't we have research and technology, space programs such as NASA and, SpaceX, JAXA, and something else, and something else, and something else, and from other countries who are space programs that are to do research and things of that for space shit. But why did they come up with a new branch of the military, the Space Force? So think very carefully. Say we didn't go to the moon. We did go to the moon. But I'm telling you right now, some shit happened on the moon. And with the Pentagon's official report on UFOs and UABs, which was complete, just shut people the hell up. Yeah. And if you notice now, there's a lot of movies now, a lot of shows talking about space and aliens and stuff. They're gearing people up for some type of divulge that's eventually going to happen. But guess what? They're not going to tell it all out. They're not going to tell you the whole truth. But they are going to give you a bone here and there. So I'm going to leave it at that. So it's about come down to the conclusion of today's show. I hope everybody has a great and safe 4th of July. I hope you celebrate and have fun with your loved ones, your family, and friends. So, in conclusion, we did go to the moon. It's an amazing accomplishment that we did. So, you heard it here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Cooley Cool Show. Your host, Brent. Like and subscribe me. You know, and find me on YouTube on the Cooley Cool Show, and find me on TikTok, the Cooley Cool Show, and find me on Instagram, Brent the Champ. So, peace, love y'all. Tune into next time. Oh yeah, if you didn't know, the song is Down My Heart by The Boys.